What we're going to be looking at is the Sharge, old school Shark Geek. I think they should have just made it Shark or something else, because this is, I don't know if I'm saying it right. Charge. That's nice. Icemag 10,000 mAh, and this is basically designed for iPhones, but you can, in fact, charge any device with it through the USB-C on the bottom. That is input and output. That's how you're going to charge it. On the side, you have your intakes, and then on the bottom, you have your exhaust. Your turn on button to turn it on, you're going to press that, and then that's in fact going to turn it on. You see that that has 3 bars. And oddly enough, kind of lights from the inside out. And simple, you just kind of put your iPhone on it and it's going to charge. Now, I have the Anchor version of this, and I can tell you that yes, it does get warm. I see a lot of people complaining, in different groups and on different forums on Reddit, saying that it sucks because it gets hot. Anything that you attach with the MagSafe is going to get your phone hot, one, and then two, gets hot. Now, there is a little fan inside of this that essentially lights up and starts firing. Okay, but here's the deal. It looks sexy. It does. You don't really hear it. But as much as that may be cooling the actual device, how cool it gets it, I have no idea. You could barely hear it. It's more for aesthetics, but hey, I'm sure it does something. But I will say this, that's actually taking power to cool the device. Now, a lot of the other power banks you see, they do ridiculous claims. I saw one that was 15,000. Look, do I think that this has 10,000 mAh? Honestly, no. It's probably going to have 5 to 7,500. But we will see. And you see that that output is 20 watt max. Now, what we're going to do real quick is we're going to test that output, because I want to see if, in fact, we do get 20 watt output. So I'm going to have to grab a USB, standby. So now if you're looking at it, it says that it has, for USB-C output, 5 volts, 2.4 amps, 9 volt, 2.2, and then 12 volts, 1.67. I'm really thinking 7,500. It does feel nice, like it has a beautiful rubber texture. I can, however, not get 20 watts out of that. That could be that it's not fully charged. So I'm gonna have to fully charge it up, and then I'll bring it back and I'll give you a recap. That is a CalDigit Thunderbolt 3 using the Apple 140 watt charger. You'll see how that's getting about 20 watts input at 8 volts at 2 amps. So it says 20 watt max output, but I'm getting 20 watts going in. I'm not charging at 20 watts, 10,000 mAh. We'll see. We'll see. I'm probably going to have to let this charge overnight, but I just wanted you to see the kind of numbers that this does in fact charge at. So we're going to do one more test. Essentially, how accurate we're going to get with how much mAh this has is going to be very, very difficult. Granted, the load test, so I may not know what I'm doing, but I kind of have an idea. What I like to do is I like to put it at the medium settings and then test the mAh of what it basically says it has, because it puts a very certain set on this. So if we looking at the other side of this, we have a couple stats, and we're going to talk about those real quick. So your USB-C output, which is what we're going to be using, we're going to use 5 volts. Or technically, we're going to use 2.4 amps, and we're going to see how much we could get out of this. I can also set it up to be a 10 watt or 7.5. I'm just going to set it at 2.4 and then see how much mAh is on the inside of this. And then we're going to come back, and then I'm going to show you the screen of this, and then we're going to go from there. So all we're going to do is we're going to plug this in. I'm going to show you how this works a little bit. And this is a 60 watt charger, so we should not have a problem there. Again, we're going to set this up to 2.4 amps. Right now that's at 3. Okay, so we're going to bring this over to the 2.4. I can actually, it does go up to about 3.2 amps, but we're going to use the 2.4. We're going to plug it in, and we're going to let this run. Now, there's going to be a jump cut, of course, because we're not going to sit here and wait. So we're going to just start this test. Now I ran that at 5 volts at 2.4 amps, and what we came up with is not 10,000 milliamp hours. We came up with 5941. Now granted, I was able to actually run this a little bit higher than 2.4 amps, which is what it's rated at. So, that's a good thing. I think 3 amps is what we're able to, yeah, 3 amps is kind of where it caps out at. And, that I totally expected that. So if we bring it down 2.9, no problem at all. And you'll see that that's 13 watts. Now, this could be an issue with this module that I'm actually not able to test. Anything over 15 watts, it kind of just shuts down. It's rated for 150 watts, and I'll put a link in the description down below. But you see here that with the test, we don't get 10,000. Actually, we're able to go a little bit further than that. So maybe 6,000, not the 10,000 that's advertised on there. 40% less than what is advertised on there. You're probably saying, all right, you know what? I'll just go get a 6,000 mAh power bank. That's probably going to do 4,000 or 3,000. I'm going to be doing a lot more tests on these and then putting them on this channel, and then you can decide for yourself. But so this is probably going to be the last video of this type on this channel. I'm going to put it on my other channel. And you know what? While I'm doing these, you'll be able to actually watch them live and then just kind of guess where it's at, because what it says and what it's actually doing are two very different things. So the price point that this is at, so if you like those stats where I showed you a little bit about it, I have another channel, I'll put a link in the description, of kind of where you could watch live rundowns of actually live battery tests. Some people like watching numbers and the fan go and then you guessing when it's going to end, how accurate it is. And then maybe eventually I'll start putting these reviews on that channel. But I do want to put a final note in saying that the texture of this is fantastic. At $60, granted they did send this to me, do I feel like that it's worth it? So at a penny per mAh, you have to say to yourself, is it worth the $60? It's tough, man. Look, the construction is solid. It feels good. It's not super hot after running for whatever that was. What was that? 2 hours and 30 minutes at its maximum of what it's rated at, 5 volts, 2.4 amp. Again, I could run at 2.9. It could be an issue with the loader, whether or not that works. But all in all, across the board, for what this is, it's solid. I think it should do what it's advertised, or they should just change this from 10,000 to 6,000. But then again, it doesn't have the same ringtone to it at 6,000 mAh. And again, I just really want to point out that if you're going to buy something that is 6,000 mAh and say, oh, well, that's a better deal, you're going to want to stay subscribed to the channel down below, because I'm sure whatever you recommend, I'll run it. And I'll put it as a live, and you could watch it. Or just fast forward all the way to the end and see exactly what you get. So you can make the decision as to whether or not you think that an mAh or milliamp hour is worth 1 penny. I think it is. I think it should be more like half a penny or a hay penny. 10,000. I wouldn't have a problem with spending $60 for 10,000 mAh. $60 for 6,000. What really bothers me the most is you advertise it at this, you advertise it at that. Now I could get it close to that charging something and then using this little adapter about 18, but my little load tester doesn't allow me to do that. So yeah, that's fine. Airplane safe, that's great. The little fan. I don't think you need that, because there's a lot of power banks that go on the back of iPhones that don't have that. And yeah, they're all going to get hot. So anybody that complains that this gets too hot, no, it doesn't. You're just being ridiculous. It's battery to battery. What do you want? You want it to feel like it's in a refrigerator? It's solid. I just don't know if it's $60 solid.